The Septuagint is the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible done in the 3rd century BC. Now, by way of background, with Alexander the Great in the 4th century BC, with his conquest of significant portion of Europe, North Africa, and he went as far as India, he spread the Greek culture. So once he conquered certain regions, then Greek becomes an administrative language, as people have to pay taxes and deal with the Greek magistrates. So there's this spread of Hellenistic culture in the lands that he conquered. And one thing armies, especially ancient armies, needed were roads. And with his conquest of a good chunk of of that world, you had now the ability for people to move back and forth on the roads that were created. And so there was a lot of interchange between cultures, and the Hellenistic culture spread. Now, in this time period, so shortly before this, you had Jews who had been exiled to Babylon, and that's, say, modern-day Persia. Oh, Iraq, I'm sorry, modern-day Iraq. And these Jews, as well as Jews who were in the Palestinian era, began to spread out, some to Egypt, some to other parts of the Greek Empire, and they became Hellenists. And so you had a whole culture of Hellenistic Jews, and these were Jews who were born and raised in Hellenic culture. And so for many of them, Greek was their first language. So they were Jewish through and through. I mean, they had the same feast sensibilities, the same general culture, but it was expressed in a Hellenistic way. And so for many of these Jews, they could not read the scriptures in their own language. And so the decision was made to translate the Bible, the scriptures, from Hebrew into Greek. Okay, so the decision was made to get 70 translators, and in Roman numeral, that's LXX, which is, by the way, the common abbreviation for the Septuagint, LXX. And so the story is that they got 70 translators, they put them in separate rooms, and they translated the Bible and came up with the exact same translation. And so the LXX, the Septuagint, became the standard scriptures or Bible for Hellenic Jews. So you can say Hellenistic, or you can just simply say Hellenic. Now, the Septuagint, for the most part, was similar to the canon that was used by Palestinian Jews. That's the Jews in that area that's now occupied by Israel. But there were some differences. Okay, so the Septuagint added a few more sacred writings that had emerged in the past few centuries or decades. And so the Septuagint has works written in Hebrew, as well as some that were written originally in Greek. Okay, so you'll not find anything written originally in Greek in the Hebrew canon. But in the Septuagint, you find things that are written originally in Hebrew and also originally written in Greek. So as a result, the Septuagint has more books in its canon than the Hebrew canon. Okay, so you have 46 books or writings, and here you have 39. Okay, so the Jews, the Hellenic Jews, the Jews who were spread out all over the Greek-speaking world, when they read the Bible, they used the Septuagint, and you had 7 additional books. Now, today we call these books, they go by a couple of different names. Some people call them the Deuterocanonical books. That just means second canon. And some people call them the Apocrypha. Okay, yeah, but either way, the Septuagint was the standard Bible for Hellenic Jews who were spread out all over the Greek-speaking world. Now, Christianity emerges in the 1st century AD. And Christianity was a mixture of Palestinian Jews along with their Gentile, that's non-Jewish converts. Okay? And it also had Hellenic Jews and their own brand of Gentile converts. So, with the Hellenic Jews, the Bible, of course, that they used was the Septuagint. That's simply what they grew up with. And the Palestinian Jews very often were more conservative, and so would use the more conservative canon of 39. Now, eventually, as Christianity grows and develops, it spreads out into the Greek-speaking world and through the Roman Empire. And so the standard Bible that all Christians use, so all Christians, I should say most Christians for the most part, used was the Septuagint. So Christianity grew up with the Septuagint. The New Testament is full of quotations from the Septuagint, and it reflects a lot of those sensibilities. The Septuagint is it's in many places more accommodating of sort of Greek philosophy and Greek culture. And some of the works are originally written in Greek. Now, so as far as the Catholic tradition goes, and when I say Catholic, I'm speaking of Roman Catholic, but not only Roman Catholic. We're speaking of Eastern Orthodox. You can include the Russian Orthodox. You can include the Maronites. You can include the Coptic Church. These are the Egyptians. And all the different Catholic traditions. So essentially, the Christian tradition that we call Catholic, okay, includes all these and more. The Septuagint was the Old Testament. Now, in the 1400s, you had what's called the Protestant Reformation. And it began with a Catholic priest by the name of Martin Luther. And the Protestant Reformation caused a split in the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, and so, of course, you had people who remained Roman Catholic, and then you had the Protestants who broke away from the Roman Catholic Church. And examples of Protestants would be Baptists, Lutherans, Methodists, Presbyterians, Unitarians, and the many denominations we have. Now, the Protestants, very early on, adopted the more conservative canon, so they broke with their Christian predecessors and went back in time and adopted the more conservative canon of 39 books. So a Protestant Bible would have an Old Testament that has 39 books, and a Catholic Bible will have an Old Testament that has 46 books. The 46 books have to do with the fact that it's essentially Christianity grew up with the Septuagint as its Old Testament. And it was not until the 1400s that a group of Christians, the Protestants, decided to abandon the Septuagint and go with a more conservative canon.